Hello everyone, welcome to MVC Academy. This is SANTOSH SIR, Faculty of Polity and Governance. So in the previous classes, we have already discussed some sort of constitutional bodies and also statutory bodies. Other than that, non-statutory bodies, right? So today we will discuss one most important topic, that is important acts and legislation. So previously we had seen so many issues regarding the legislation related things, and also we have to consider examination purpose. Especially in the context of the examination, we have to focus on recent schemes and recent policies and recent legislations, right? So here we will deal with some important acts and legislations, whatever we have in India especially. So one by one we will look into it, each and everything. So first of all, new criminal laws. So we have seen some three important colonial laws were reframed or completely dismantled and created new criminal laws, right? So replaced with new criminal laws here. So three new codes replaced colonial era laws here. So effective July 1st, 2024. Already 1 year completed for the enforcement of these laws, right? So here Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. What are those laws? Here three laws were there. Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, that was replaced the Indian Penal Code 1860. Right. Next, Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Sanhita. It was replaced Criminal Procedural Code that was enacted in British time, that is 1973. Right. Next, Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam. Right. Replaced Indian Evidence Act 1872. Right. So first of all, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita replaced Indian Penal Code that was enacted in the British period 1860, and also Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Sanhita replaced our Criminal Procedural Code that was enacted after independence 1973. So apart from that, third important thing, Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam. So replaced Indian Evidence Act 1872. So these are the three important new criminal laws, right? Those were completely replaced the colonial laws, right? So if you see the landmark transformation here, what is the need here? What is the need to transform or need to replace the old laws here? So transformation of criminal justice system is the main motto here, right? So whatever we have been using, the criminal justice system is very old, right? So according to the modernization conditions, or we have to include these technology type of things, or cyber threats, etc. We have been facing so many issues, right? So for that, we did not have such a effective and modern laws related to criminal justice system especially. So that's why we had to replace these old and colonial laws, right? So with these new codes, right? So what is the focus here? Focus on decolonization and modernization. So whenever you call it as a modernization, time to time adaptation should be there. Means time to time there will be, for example, if you see the 2000, there will be so many differences between 2000 and 2020. Right? So in 2000, maybe we had used the CPU with the monitor, right? Right? Dabba type monitor and all, right? So if you see 2020, we had LED monitors and a different type of laptop and a configuration, highly configuration setup, and also we have been using the technology related to these especially modern technology, artificial intelligence or robotics, Internet of Things, etc. So that is the transformation. According to the time, the technology, whenever the technology is shifting or completely, we have to adapt that, right? So that is the main important focus area here. So modernization. So if you see the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, first of all, what are the key challenges or changes in the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita? That was replaced our Indian Penal Code, right? So abolition of sedition under section 124A IPC. So we are not dealing with each and everything. So historical background and each and everything important things, right? So here we only focused on whatever the things we had to discuss or we have to consider, or what are the general things we have to observe here from these changes, right? So abolition of sedition especially, right? We had experienced so many sedition issues, sedition cases related issues in the previous era. So based on that, they only focused on abolition of sedition under section 124A of Indian Penal Code. Next, what is the new provision here? So new provision in the replacing of sedition here. So new provision acts endangering sovereignty and integrity. So which are the acts? These type of sedition type of things, whether they are endangering, means threatening to the sovereignty of our country or integrity of the country, right? So here new provision on acts, this is very important here. So emphasis on digital offences here. Emphasis on digital offences, cyber terrorism, organized crime, all these were recently happened only. Previously we had experienced so many old techniques of these crimes, etc. Right? So that was not completely related to this sedition related issues as per our new times or modern times. Right? We did not have those provisions, punishment provisions or penalty provisions, those were not there. Completely sedition means those type which were not including these cyber related things, etc. That's why we just removed or abolished the sedition type of things and included a new provisions into that, right? So specific provision for mob lynching with death penalty. So mob lynching type of things we had seen so many years, from the last 10 years we had seen mob lynching, right? So mob lynching, so a particular group killing one other particular regarding the religious particular partiality especially, right? So whenever we had seen so many issues, so particularly Hindu people, right? So Hindu community people are killing Muslim persons for the sake of Muslims are eating cow or beef, right? That is the main reason. This is type of religious thing, even though it is a religious thing here. So all the Hindu communities are attacking only one Muslim personality, right? So this is mob lynching especially. So for these effective in particular issues also or crimes also, right? So that were included this provision, right? So if you see expanded definitions of sexual offences including digital harassment also, right? So previously we did not have these type of definitions including sexual harassment or offences especially, right? So sexual offences included here. So that was the expanded part in this new provision that was included in this Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, replacing the Indian Penal Code. So including digital harassment also. So many women are completely facing these harassment, digital harassment recently, right? So some sort of app issues we had seen, some sort of mobile calling issues or internet things, many things we have been facing, right? So victim-centric approach in various provisions was observed. Victim-centric approach means here, so victim, who is the victim? Victim-centric approach will be handled carefully from this particular provision included Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. These are the key changes that were observed from this Indian Penal Code, right? So Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Sanhita, what are the features of second law or second criminal code, that is Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Sanhita? So it is victims' right to be heard before withdrawal of prosecution, section 360. There is a victim right to be heard before withdrawal of prosecution under section 360 of this new act, right? So what is the right to be heard before withdrawal of prosecution, right? Compulsorily everybody has the right to know whether they are, what type of purpose regarding that they are prosecuting, right? So and also statutory recognition of victims' rights, statutory recognition of victim rights here. So Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Sanhita, right? Suraksha means they are completely protecting the victim here, protecting the victim rights here, right? So safeguarding, simply they are recognizing the victim's rights here, right? That is the main important thing. So in the replacing of which code here? Criminal Procedural Code 1973. So here, other than that, use of technology in criminal justice system also very important. Use of technology in criminal justice system. So we had not used previously, right? So because it was old, Criminal Procedural Code 1973 was old. Even though it was old, we have been using continuously even till 2023, right? So based on these provisions only, how we managed these type of technology issues or cyber threats, etc. That is the main question here. So that's why we had changed this, and electronic records as evidence. Here electronic records were completely taken as a evidence here, not these type of, previously we had seen some type of paper type of issues, right? So here electronic record should be managed. Previously we had seen some sort of FIRs written by manually. That was not the case here, right? Completely digital, right? Trials through video conferencing. Trials, there will be trials through video conferencing also, right? So here previously we had to take the manual interactions, right, whenever they want to trial, right? So here using the, according to the time, we are adapting the technology. So these tools also very much important. Video conferencing trials also included here. Modernization of procedural law. So we had completely focusing on decolonization and also modernization, right? So here completely modernization of procedural law. Whatever we have, the criminal procedural law previously, just we are modernizing. So including some tools and also including some victims' rights perspective, right? So victims centric approach also we had seen here. So new criminal laws, what are the impact on legal practice here? What are the impact on legal practice regarding the new criminal laws? So we had already included the 3 important laws, right? So other than these, first 2 are very important, that's why we had seen. So 2 important, that is first of all in the replacing of new or IPC and in the replacing of criminal procedure code, right? So other than that, Indian Evidence Act, that not that much important here. So right, so new criminal laws here, impact on legal practice here, expanded definitions and offenses. So here one important thing, impact on legal practice, expanded definitions. If you see the sedition, completely abolished, and also they have created some definitions or expanded some definitions of sexual offenses, right? So sexual offenses type of issues or digital harassment included those type of definitions. That was important here. So new procedural requirements also. What are the new procedural requirements here? Some new technology. So video conferencing trials or some sort of particularly FIRs, these type of information gathering. So completely enforcement relatedly, their digital records are completely utilizing here. So enhanced use of forensic evidence also. Enhanced means increasing the use of forensic evidence also here. So that is also a important impact on these new criminal laws. So emphasis on speedy trial. They had focused on, they have to focus on here mainly speedy trial. So previously, even though we had spent so much time on the manual process or writing process or without having any technology or recording or these type of digital records, etc., video conferencing, compulsorily the person should be there. So all these are hurdles at that time, right? But here, so there was most focus on speedy trial, right? So whenever you include these type of the digital records thing or some sort of inclusion of technology and also video conferencing type of issues or some sort of clear-cut definitions of each and every crime issues, then it will be easy to complete the case, right? So speedy trial may be focus here. Greater victim participation. Here previously if you see, there had a cause to not attend the particular prosecution things, etc., or whenever they wanted to come to court, they are not interested to attend the court also because of lack of interest or lack of trust on the criminal justice system, right? So here greater victim participation also we can see according to the procedural or expanded definitions or inclusion of different technology things, right? So digital transformation of criminal justice. So completely previously whatever we had used the criminal justice system, that was completely different. That is completely different as of now what we are using, right? So by using the digital transformation here, so according to the time we just changed or adapted to the technology. Means here, so regarding the crime related things, previously we had seen so many crimes that was not related to technology. So now we are using are utilizing the technology. So whenever you are utilizing the technology, the issues are completely transformed to digital threats or digital security issues, cyber crimes, etc. For those, we are using this technology, right? That is the main important thing. So, and also to speedy trial, right? For the speedy trial also, we have been using these digital transformation techniques. So next, if you see the PESA Act here 1996, this is also very important. Apart from the whatever we have, the new criminal laws. So PESA Act 1996, it was old but very important. As per the rural, we are completely focusing on this tribal people or Gram Sabha related issues. That's why it is very important. So if you see the PESA Act, PESA means here Panchayat Extension to Scheduled Areas Act, that was enacted in 1996. So Panchayat extensions. So according to 73rd Constitution Amendment Act, so Panchayat Raj institutions was framed or created, right? So what is this meaning, Panchayat extension to scheduled areas? So if you see the Panchayat, according to 73rd Constitution Amendment Act, we had some sort of 3 levels, right? So district level, or particularly in between block level or village level panchayats, right? These were not included the scheduled areas, here tribal areas, right? So just extension to the scheduled areas, Panchayat extension to the scheduled areas mean the PESA Act here, right? Completely they are Panchayat institutions are extending to the scheduled areas, are covering the scheduled areas. That is the importance of this act. So extends part 9 of the Constitution to scheduled areas. Part 9 of the Constitution extends this scheduled areas, right? Whatever the part 9 is here, part 9 is here completely Panchayat Raj system, right? So we had included the schedule 11 and schedule 12 also here, right? So the part 9A is related to our municipalities, and we have schedule 12, right? So here ensures self-governance through Gram Sabhas. Here ensures self-governance through Gram Sabhas, right? So Gram Sabha only the main important thing in the village level, right? So here self-governance through Gram Sabhas is very important. The two panchayats extension to the scheduled areas also, Gram Sabha plays very crucial role. And also it empowers tribal communities. Mainly what is the purpose here? To empower tribal communities. So if you exclude or if you continue with the Panchayat Raj system at district level or block level or village level, it is as usual, right? So the local or locations or whatever we have, the district to village panchayat people will be covered. But here, so the tribal people will be excluded here. That's why they are completely inclusive of these tribal communities is PESA Act, means empowering the tribal communities by using this act. So recognizes customary rights and traditions. They are recognizing customary rights and traditions according to the nature only they have been living, right? So nature, they will protect the nature and also they will conserve the nature and they will also depending on the nature. That is the importance of tribal communities here. So that's why they are completely recognizing customary rights. If you see the according to Forest Rights Act 2006, they have been giving the minor forest produce also, right? So they can use the minor forest produce, means non-timber products, right? Non-timber produce, whatever they are available. For example, they have honey, right? Honey, bamboo, these type of produces they can utilize, they can collect, they can use, they can sell. That is the main authority rights were given to the tribal people from the Forest Rights Act 2006, that is minor forest produce, right? So here from this PESA Act 1996, it recognizes customary rights and traditions, what were they enjoyed by the constitutional safeguards. It protects tribal autonomy also, right? So whenever the rights considering regarding the Forest Rights Act or PESA Act completely, here we are protecting the tribal autonomy, right? So no one will be questioned, right? According to the minor forest produce, they have all rights. But if you consider the major, means timber type related products, they don't have the say, any say, right? So that is the introduction part to the PASA Act. What are the powers of Gram Sabha here related to PASA Act? So safeguard and preserve traditions and customs. The main goal is to safeguard and preserve traditions and customs of tribal communities. So it protect cultural identity of tribal communities. It protect cultural identity of tribal communities. So they have sort of tradition and customary things and also culture, right? So they are completely depending on the nature. They are protecting the nature and they are preventing the nature to exploit also, right? They are conserving the nature and also they are using the resources of nature also for their livelihood. So manage community resources. They will manage community resources, whatever they have been enjoying, whether the forest resources, they are completely using here, right? So customary mode of dispute resolution, right? What are the powers of Gram Sabha here? Community resources, if you see the community resources means tribal community resources are there. Minor, for example, minor forest produce. They have certain rights on the minor forest produces according to the Forest Rights Act 2006, right? So regarding this issue, Gram Sabha will manage community resources, right? So who will have the rights and all, they will expand, they will consider all these things. And also customary mode of dispute resolution, wherever they have any dispute related things, right? Customary mode of dispute resolution will be handled by the Gram Sabha only regarding the tribal community issues. So approval for development plans and projects. For example, these tribal areas, in these tribal areas or scheduled areas, whenever government wanted to initiate any development project, right? So compulsorily government or Gram Sabha approval should be there, right? So that is the main important power of Gram Sabha related to Panchayat Extension Scheduled Areas Act. Control over minor forest produce. They have the control, means Gram Sabha having the power to control over minor forest produce. Minor forest produce, according to minor forest produce, these tribal communities only having the right to use, utilize, collect and also sell, right? So they will control. Gram Sabha, according to Gram Sabha control only tribal communities will use. Other side people cannot may not use this particular produces. So if you see what is the implementation challenges here. So if you see the implementation challenges regarding the PASA Act here, 2025 study, if you see according to recent study only, lack of political will for implementation. Lack of political will for implementation. PASA Act, if you see the PASA Act provisions or powers of Gram Sabha, those are very excellent to empower the tribal community people. But if you see the reality, the implementation is very much lacking, right? So because of political will, lack of political will only, implementation is a loophole. So bureaucratic opposition and apathy. Bureaucratic opposition and apathy is very much important. Means bureaucratic opposition here, administrative related to bureaucratic means civil services also will not be able to oppose certain things here related to this PASA Act. Whenever the powers of Gram Sabha, PASA Act completely enjoyed by the Gram Sabha, almost they will some sort of crash, right? So, and also inadequate awareness among tribal communities. So they don't know even PASA Act, about PASA Act, what are their rights, etc. So they have to aware them, right? What are their rights? Minor forest produce. They have the rights to collect and also utilize those things, right? And also bamboo and honey, these type of things they can utilize and also they can sell. So that also they don't know. That is the main important thing. Conflicts with existing forest and revenue laws. Conflict with existing forest and revenue laws. So if you see, whatever we had enjoyed means some sort of provisions were mentioned as the safeguards to the scheduled areas, completely conflicting with the existing forest and revenue laws. If you see the Forest Rights Act, completely they are clashing with them. And also other than the revenue laws also, forest produces related issues were there, right? Unclear provisions and legislative laws. They are completely unclear. So why unclear here? So completely PASA Act means Panchayat Raj extensions to the scheduled areas. the Gram Sabha is completely enjoying the powers. But here, so in reality, so many provisions are unclear here. So legislative flaws also there, right? So here, so many conflict is happened here. So in between PESA and Forest Rights Act, they have to be clear here. So and also resistance to changes in power structure. The resistance to changes in power structure. Here, if you see, Gram Sabha only enjoying the main power regarding the PESA Act and also Forest Rights Act also, right? So that is the main concern here. So resistance to changes in power structure also very much important challenge, implementation challenge that was clearly observed from the recent study 2025 PESA Act. So what is the way forward thing? What should be done? Means what are the important suggestions to effectively implement the PESA Act here? So capacity building programs for Gram Sabhas are very important. Capacity building programs for Gram Sabha means Gram Sabha is the completely a village oriented platform, right? So here, other than people also Gram Sabha who are included in the Gram Sabha also, nothing will be aware of something, right? So what are the laws, Forest Rights Act, etc. So compulsorily they have to be trained. Other than that, police reforms to address legal conflicts also very much important. Policy reforms to address legal conflicts. Whatever we have some legal conflict in between PESA Act and Forest Rights Act should be completely resolved, right, by using policy reforms. Some sort of policy reforms also need to be taken here. So greater push for implementation in letter and spirit. So we had already seen. So whatever constitution was there, it is a rule book, right? So that is rule of law, completely written in the letter. But if whatever provisions or rights or important powers or functions or authoritative roles are completely implemented properly, that is reality. Means here spirit, letter and spirit. That is the difference between letter and spirit. In reality, ground level, whether we are implementing properly or not, that is governance here. That is the difference between polity and governance. Polity is the constitution. Whatever we had rights and provisions mentioned in the constitution or rule book, that is the polity. If you see the implementation of those rights and powers and etc. is the governance. That is the difference here. If you see greater push for implementation, here governance should be translated to from the particular letter to spirit, means reality in the ground level we have to implement. So awareness campaigns in tribal areas. So tribal people also should be aware here regarding their rights, regarding the rights about whatever we have rights from Forest Rights Act, PESA Act, etc. Strengthening of Gram Sabha institutions also. They have to strengthen Gram Sabha institutions here. So by training themselves, skill development, Gram Sabha, they have to play role. So they are enjoying so many powers regarding the PESA and also Forest Rights Act, right? So and also monitoring evaluation mechanisms. Monitoring and evaluation mechanisms should be there, whether PESA Act is implementing properly or not. They have to monitor, and also evaluation schemes. Every year they have to evaluate the mechanism, right, of PESA Act here. That is needed here, right? So these are the two important acts or legislations that we have in India. So first of all, new criminal laws and also PESA Act we have covered in this video. So in the next video, we will discuss several important acts and legislations. Thank you very much. All the very best.